Really?
That's a real thing. It's recorded universities.
Maybe.
Well, I'm not sure why we don't have video here.
No, it's not. Space cards.
Okay, well, we're gonna do something different then. Okay, so instead of going, we'll just do it this way.
I hit it for
How admitted that you went to a range of emotions?
I did.
I was mad.
All right, you are live now.
Alright, everybody please quiet down, we're doing a Socratic discussion, thank you. Alright, who would like to ask the first question?
Hello.
Alright.
Is war necessary for peace? Why or why not?
I'll just go ahead and kick it off. I kind of think it's like an ironic saying, personally, because you got to start war, which ends your peace, but theoretically, if you went to war with everybody and won, and everybody was on your side, there couldn't be two sides to have war. There'd always be a rebellion or something. So I don't think it's actually possible. But I don't know. That's what I thought.
I think world peace is basically unrealistic, and to get anywhere close to it, I don't think war is the answer.
I think like without war, we wouldn't have like a concept of peace, but it would still exist, but we wouldn't really know it. That's what's good.
And war is almost always like disagreement. People are always going to disagree on things. Like even if you're all united, you can still disagree.
Usually after war, like they still don't really like each other, so it's not really great.
And sometimes like threats and warfare can keep some countries in line.
They can really do like total peace, so.
I feel like after a war, there's respect towards each other, which causes.
And where did you see that in 1984?
They always kind of like, they always try to promote the war, and they wanted to, they always said like, if we win this, like it's over, kind of. Like there was like this end goal, because like everybody knew that if they took over another person, then you pretty much had control and you win everything.
Were they even at war with someone else?
And like the government said they were. What evidence did you guys use in the real world or text or class?
I just said that peace hasn't really ever been achieved by complete peace. And the wars, they don't help us that much.
I put down like, I did a real world evidence thing. Back like during the Roman period, there was like a huge area that the Romans controlled in there. Like there was war in there. And there was tons of like rebellions all the time, so there never was actually peace even within like this big region. So that's what I did. Just like to show that even if you're under the same control, like, you can still disagree and still rebel.
But what about you, Christian?
I kind of think if you're a group of people and you win a war, you're kind of more at peace. But the group that loses the war, they're kind of not at peace. They're kind of distraught about losing that war. So from war, somebody's gaining peace and somebody's losing it.
Who gains strength from ignorance?
Person that's ignorant.
I kind of like the people oppressing the ignorant because they like want to keep their power and if their corruption keeps people ignorant and they can't oppose it.
That's kind of close to what she said. The leaders, people who are educated or uneducated, are easier to manipulate.
In the book, the government was definitely gaining strength from the others. I thought.
I agree with Jackson when he said that it only helps the people that aren't ignorant, because for the people that are, it's a weakness and it just allows them to control them.
What would you?
I think
Yeah, the person who gains strength is people who keep people ignorant. Like my real world example, I actually had the Manhattan Project where the government was keeping secrets away from the people, and they were building the atomic bomb. They didn't want them to get scared.
Was it just for their good then?
I think they actually had good intentions. They just turned out bad last when we found out.
Yeah, do you guys think that some forms of oppression, like ignorance, is good in any way?
I think emotionally,
Yeah.
there can be strength. Like back in Nazi Germany, I guarantee you if those people knew what their government was doing, I don't think they'd get strength from it. I don't think they'd be too happy.
And I think a lot of times our parents, especially when we're young, they won't tell us all the bad things that are happening. We don't worry.
Yeah, because when you're little, you don't need to worry about like a war or something.
So was the ignorance shown in Orwell's story a positive, a negative?
The people didn't have to worry about all the big problems, so they could worry about their day-to-day lives. So they were stronger because of that. Not saying it's a good thing, but it's kind of how that works.
I wonder if the government told them like everything, like all the big problems, like what people think, because they don't really see, they don't know any of the big
They
problems.
probably revolt.
Yeah, then,
But they're not that educated to begin with, so I don't think like they know like the complications, what was happening, so like even if they didn't know, they'd probably still be ignorant to the actual problem.
Yeah.
Basically, the more uneducated you are, typically the happier you are in society, politically. And if you're more politically competent, the less happy you're likely to be. Like it happens today.
Like you can kind of like in history you can see this too. I made a connection to there was a Chinese dynasty where in like attempts to keep their dynasty going, they wanted to keep all the people dumb, so they burned all the books in China. They had like a mass burning. And I thought that was kind of like interesting because it really did bring back to like who gained strength from ignorance. Good example. Gordon, you have anything?
I said that the party was imposing the ignorance of the trolls and the lower movers of society, which therefore gave them the strength and power to control everything.
Do you guys think the trolls were like as uneducated as the common person, or do you think they had more education and like more knowledge of what was going on?
they're ignorant to the knowledge that they actually had.
Yeah.
They're smarter than they realize.
They had to have known some things, maybe not all of them.
So what part or role does power play in that choice to be ignorant?
Well, like
They like ignored some of the bad things that they didn't really
if they feared the government's power, then they could just use the fact that the government's giving them the ignorance to hide from everything, to also hide from their power, not be taken out by it.
It's like smart people like ask questions, they poke around and look at things. Like ignorant people don't do that.
Well, when you're working to death, you don't really have the time to. When you're lower middle class and you have to work a lot, they probably didn't really have the time to do such a thing. And they didn't have the education to do it, so.
Alright, should we go next question?
Can technology also be destructive?
Yes,
Very.
big time.
Oh, this was kind of like an obvious question. Yeah. Well, it like improves like the definition of technology is something that improves your life. At the same time, you know, we improve weapons for war and stuff. And that can be destructive. The smarter we get, the more destructive we can get.
I think a prime example of this would be Yik Yak. Because nothing good comes from it, it's all just destructive.
One, like when people use it anonymously, like they can say whatever they want, and like the common person won't know who it is. Like bullying is a big destructive thing for technology.
And Technology itself, I don't think is destructive, but it's what the people do with it that makes it that way.
I think if like technology makes us too dependent, then like we lose the ability to think for ourselves, and that's too more ignorance.
As like, yeah, as it makes knowledge like more readily available, it's almost like it makes us less like inclined to want to use it because it's so available.
And the technology in 1984 destroyed their power of freedom.
Telescreen.
Yeah, those screens.
I had something close to that point because I said like the telescreens destroyed the relationship between Winston and Julia because they were just fine and they knew there wasn't one. But then the government came in and used it, and when they found out everything they were doing, and they just tortured them and broke them down against each other.
I think if they hadn't been discovered, nothing really would have came from it. All they really did was meet up and talk. They didn't really do. They weren't really interested in revolting. Winston kind of was.
I don't think he was like worried enough to actually think of the moves every time he tried and got like he had the knowledge, but I don't think he had the
He was too smart to be dumb enough to rebel. I think.
1 more minute.
All right, we should go to the next question then. The last question, yeah, everybody did their own, so we could just like go around and share. But do you want to start?
And I said it's control necessary for technology to be an improvement. And I said no, because there's technology improvements all the time that don't involve control.
I said, does improving technology improve the quality of life? And I think it does if the people know how to use it and like they're not gonna abuse it or something. Because we're obviously growing up with new technology all the time. So obviously it's gonna make life better if you use it correctly.
Yeah.
I don't have to turn it off, but the question was like about the government controlling us with technology that make it makes it easier for them to do so. And yeah,
I chose, is ignorance an equivalent to conformity? And I think I said ignorance allows people to like conform easier. Because if you're ignorant, you don't really have any topics to like disagree on in some way. It's more likely to get along.
I had how does ignorance to conformity affect like control? And like I think if people are ignorant to the fact that they are conforming, then like people have more control because they don't need
I kind of came up with my own question, and like I was asked if Julia and Winston were really in love, and like if it had any effect on like what they saw in the government. And I said yes, I believe they were in love because it would account for all the risks of seeing each other, and it did kind of change because they talked about like what the government's doing, and like what they wanted to change.
I think Winston fell in love with her before she started to like fall with him.
I talked about the regulation of technology, and I talked about how it's a necessary thing, but it should be done democratically. You shouldn't have a big brother type of deal where one individual or one small group of people tell everybody what to do and control everybody and regulate everybody, but rather everybody basically regulates everybody. That kind of deal. Because it's not okay to have somebody, you know, kind of just build an atomic bomb in their garage. So it's not a good thing to have happen. So it's got to be regulated. It has to be regulated. Basically, my stance on that.
One question that I actually asked, can technology control the world? They can try to control the world, but it seems like it's impossible.
All right. Woo. Woo. Very good. Good job. Okay. We actually ran a little bit long. So our outer circle, very quickly go inside. One thing I would love for the inner circle now to improve on and outshine the outer circle with is your discussion connectors. Yes, you did. And oh, good. And Jackson was with his soliciting a response. But more agreeing, connecting your statements to other people's. I want you to do that. Okay, so I agree, I disagree, or like Bree said, blah, 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 blah. Paraphrasing, can you get over there? So remember, you practice using your connection statements here.
We'll do the commentator.
Yes, you are all on the outside commentators. Are we ready? Go.
Is war necessary for peace? Why or why not?
Well, I think that's a yes. I think it's you look at the question both ways. Like I related it to World War II. It was necessary for us to get to the war to make peace. That's what I got out of it. That's what I thought.
I had that they're complete opposites, so it's ironic. I'd like to think that war is not necessary for peace, but I believe that it's necessary to have someone in control to maintain peace.
I agree with Mitch. I also brought up the World War II thing. I said like there were a lot of high tensions prior to World War II that they're all clashing together with like different countries and stuff, and it created a really bad war. But through that war, those tensions were kind of resolved by the end of it, and a lot of it ended in peace. So
I think that there are different ways to reach peace. I feel like peace is just reached during a war because people get against consent. And so, and then by that, and peace by definition is freedom from argument or tension. And I feel like peace is never really created then because I feel like there's always been tension. And so is peace ever really created from war then? Or is there just the idea of it?
I agree with Matt and Mitch because I also brought in the world wars and said that peace was kind of figured out by then, but it doesn't actually help everyone involved because the people that lost did not get peace.
I think that more people are brought to peace through war, though.
Like how many evidence from texts?
1984, they were saying, part of the book where didn't it say that they kept promoting the war, so then like, they had like if we can win the war, we'll have peace. Wasn't that somewhere in the book?
I think so.
I had the rocket bombs that were constantly being launched. And so it's pretty unfortunate that they needed that type of like scare to the people in order to maintain that peace and kind of keep that fear alive in them. And so I think a lot of things that go into the war, a lot of it is about fear and about like not wanting to get hurt from it. And that's necessary so that people don't like have an uprising. Because if everything is too peaceful, or you realize that some things are wrong within your own world, rather than like outside people trying to come into it, then you start rebelling.
Okay, who gains strength from ignorance?
I said people who like are in control of the government and stuff, or the non-ignorant gain strength from like the people's ignorance.
I agree with Matt. I like literally wrote that. I wrote the non-ignorant people gain strength from the ignorant people.
What strength do we need?
I think they need the strength of people not questioning them, so that you have people that will follow orders without questioning them.
I agree with Mitch. So like if people don't question things, then the person in charge has all the power because they'll just do whatever you tell them to.
I agree with Sarah because the magnetic text evidence side talks about how Big Brother's able to torture the people that are trying to rebel because the ignorant people didn't play a part in the revolution and there would have been more people that come to overthrow Big Brother. They were too ignorant to try to do anything about it.
Do you guys all think that in order for someone to gain strength, there has to be a lot of ignorant people out there?
I would say
Strength is usually bad, but if someone's trying to be stronger, maybe I don't want to.
Yeah, it depends on what you're standing up for. like the government in Oceania, they were standing up for themselves rather than the people that they were governing. And so like greed also comes into that. They want that strength for themselves, not for the entire.
So, ignorance.
I would say
Some people can be, but not in general.
I think it's better to know what's happening rather than to just be unaware of
Oblivious to everything.
Yeah. I mean, you might be happier if you're just completely oblivious to everything that's happening in the world around you.
you can be happy because you're ignorant and you don't care what's really going on, but you can be more happy if you know what's going on and you can make a difference. Than just be not caring out there.
I pretty much agree with what you guys said.
Can technology also be destructive?
It's pretty obvious.
would
I mean,
say,
if it's used incorrectly, that's the biggest part. I don't think it's
It's how
necessarily,
people use it that make it
yeah,
destructive.
it's not technology itself, but it's how
I feel
it's.
yeah, like I have a really hard time sleeping at all my companies. Helping us a lot. I feel like we're dependent on technology, and I feel like that's kind of been destructive. That it's kind of taken away the human-to-human response.
I don't know that it's really technology that's destructive. It's us and how we use it.
I agree with them. It's just how the people use it that make it destructive. Because you can have a phone but not use it that often. It's not destructive. But if you're on your phone constantly in class and you're in trouble for it, that's destructive.
The other way to be destructive is through how people can spread false information on the internet. There's a lot of stuff on the internet that's not true. People get very ignorant and whatever they see.
In my relating to the world, there is an article about how people in today's world sort of base themselves and their self-confidence on how often they're like messaged or like how many texts they get in a day. Like if you only text one person a day, then you probably might feel bad if you're used to like texting 7 or 8. And so it's kind of destructive internally, like if you think that you're not being noticed.
I agree with Sarah. I think people are more like concerned about how many likes they get on their selfies more than they should be worried about.
Like there's more important things in the world.
For my real life thing, I put like the atomic bomb is a huge advancement, but it's also really destructive as far as like lives and stuff go.
Yeah, but that technology caused more destruction than it saved, or that. Like it saved more people because of the
We'll
destruction.
never know. I feel like technology can be very helpful. It's just,
I mean, that's the point of it.
oh
I feel like a lot of technology isn't like made to be destructive, but it's turned into destructive purpose. I was watching a show on Netflix where they're making like robot suits to help people walk, but they didn't walk, and the military is turning it around right now. I watched that this morning.
How can we relate this question to a book?
The telescreens obviously were pretty destructive in Winston's life because, well, one of the things that was like most profound to me was the fact that they were in his home. And like I think of my home as like my sanctuary, and like I don't let people in if I don't want them there, and it's like my place. And if there's people who can literally watch every move that you make and watch everything that you do, then like there's no privacy. And I think that that's a pitfall of technology in today's world, is that privacy is kind of lessening, like with celebrities and
What about
picture sharing.
you guys who spend a huge portion of your day online? Are you being watched?
And you might never know that, and that's pretty scary.
Like there's rumors going around with that app, the Facebook Messenger or whatever, but you have to download that from Facebook or whatever, I guess, and someone was saying that apparently someone hacked into that app and whenever you're on it, people can watch you through your phone cameras. If that's true or not, I don't know.
That's really creepy.
Something you're gonna need to,
And
they're all gonna need to.
that's
figure out.
actually what is happening in their daily lives, and they're aware of it. And that's weird.
And do we choose then ignorance and say, oh, that's not gonna happen, and just keep using it?
One of my questions was that, does every house have a telescreen in it, or is it just the select house? Did every single house have one?
Who did not originally that we knew of?
The enterprise?
Well, they could turn it off. The Proles and or Sherrington. Yeah. The bell is gonna ring, right? Or no, we have till 37. Sorry, I was thinking 35. So we have another minute.
Does anyone have the last question that they want to share?
My question was, how does technology control people? It's kind of relates to the last question, and I just said that it controls people today because we're so reliant on it. And like in today's world, if technology just stopped working, like everything would be completely shut down. Like our world would basically go like shit.
Like, what would we do?
Everything relies on technology nowadays.
And there's a TV show about that called Revolution. So it's saying like the whole society collapses if we don't have it. So I think we're too dependent on technology.
So would that show be the next step beyond Orwell's 1984?
Yeah.
He was seeing what was going to happen with technology, and the producers of Revolution are seeing what would happen without technology. A total shift.
After having it in life,
Yeah,
etc.
I think technology has really become a crutch. Like we've used it as a crutch to get by.
I really like light bulbs. Like, I don't like being in the dark, and I don't know what I would do if I had to like go down into my basement and not be able to turn lights on.
Find a candle. Oh, great. Put them on Dave's table there.
Put them on Davy's table.
Okay, thanks, guys. Great job. And we did have technological difficulties in the middle there. It stopped at 5:13, and then I had to figure out how to get it back. Oh, well.
You're kind of a star out there.